You could be paying double the amount of taxes if one spouse passes away. That's what we're going to talk about on today's video, which is referred to as the widow's penalty. We see this often with clients of ours or people who come in to work with us, and it can cause a huge havoc on someone's plan ongoing. So the purpose of this video today is how can we plan for it today so that you are not left in that mess if something happens. So up on the screen right now, I have the federal income tax rates for 2023. So if you're married filing jointly and your taxable income is $85,000, that puts you in the 12% bracket. Now, if you're single and you have $85,000 of taxable income, you're in the 12% bracket. So do you see that difference there? And that difference is simply what we call the widow's penalty, where you could pay a double tax rate if one spouse passes away. The other thing to note here is the standard deduction. So the standard deduction, $27,700 if you're married, basically gets cut in half if that spouse passes away. So not only are you finding yourself in a higher tax bracket, but you're also the first amount of money up front, not as much of that is tax-free. Now you may be thinking, well, I'm not here my spouse isn't here anymore. He or she eats so much, and we have a huge grocery bill, but if it's just me, that's not going to be there, and I don't have as many expenses, right? Well, yeah, your expenses are going to go down some, but typically it's about the same. It's 70 to 80% is what most people expect there. And the other thing to keep in mind is that most of your income streams are going to stay the same. Now, you will lose one of the Social Security benefits. You'll get the higher of the two, but you'll lose a small one. If you have a pension, a lot of people have survivor options on your pension, so that could still exist. But also the main thing that doesn't change is investments. So any money you take out from your investments, that's going to be the same if you're married or you're single. Those investments aren't going to go down because one spouse passed away, unless it goes to a different beneficiary and it doesn't go to you. And so we typically see that their income's not that much affected, but their brackets are affected tremendously, which causes a big issue here. So right there, you can see pretty plainly how if your taxable income is $85,000, you're going to be in a whole different situation. So, and then you can see you're closer to get to the higher brackets just by taking any additional amount out. So I actually have an example here that I want to walk through with you. And this was projected out for one of our clients. We wanted to show them that, hey, if you kick the bucket, what would it look like for your spouse? And so let's walk through those numbers here. I think you're going to find them pretty impactful here. So first, let me walk you through the chart here that we developed for our clients here. So what this is showing is projected out every dollar that they take out from their investments, what situation does that put them in? So their current situation, if one spouse passes, is they're going to get $36,000 a year from a pension. So there's a 100% survivorship option on that. And they're also going to get $55,000 from Social Security. So while both of them live in, they're going to get $79,000. But if one spouse passes away, remember they get the higher of the two, so they're only going to get $55,000. So their income is going to be a bit less, but as you see here, they're going to be paying much higher taxes because of this. Okay, so here is the widow's penalty in action, and so I want to first walk you through how this chart works. So let's get something clear here. The 25%, the 28%, the 33%, that blue, that's the federal tax bracket. That's the ordinary income. Now, you're probably wondering, why are you using those numbers? Those aren't the current tax brackets. And you are right. But what is going to happen in 2026? 2026 tax brackets are going up to what they were in 2017. Okay, so if you haven't heard of this, President Trump enacted the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, and it reduced taxes from then to 2026. But come 2026, they're going back up to what they were, meaning that we've got 3 more years of this tax sale to take advantage of. But what we were projecting on the screen here is what it would be like when those tax rates change in the future. And if you know me, you know that I expect tax rates to be much higher than even that in the future because of our current debt crisis and everything else going on in our economy. So that's just what we're dealing with here when we look at our brackets. Now, you're going to see these dotted lines here, and those are Medicare premiums. The Medicare premiums is another issue with the widow's penalty because as a singular filer, you're going to have to pay more in Medicare premiums if your income is the same as a married filing jointly couple, depending on where your income sits. But you're likelier to get to that first tier quicker, single, than you are married. And so you're going to see here as a single person they're easily going to get up into those areas pretty quickly, especially with their RMDs, which this client's RMDs were going to be over 100,000 is what we expected it, which pushed them into having to pay $5,000 a year in extra Medicare premiums. And keep in mind, you get the same Medicare benefits as someone down the street who's poor and has no money, but you have to pay way more, all because your income's higher. So it's means-based, which is why we got to plan for this and try to reduce our income for the future to avoid these issues like this. And then you're going to see here the purple. So the purple is the impact of Social Security becoming taxable. So if you followed us at all, you see we talk about this quite a bit. We've wrote Kiplinger on it. We do a lot of videos on this. And this is what we call the Social Security tax torpedo. If you force your income over this point here, you could cause yourself to be in a 46% tax rate. And this is because they have that pension and they have a higher Social Security amount, and they're already in the torpedo right away. So the way this chart works is that once that spouse passes away, let's say that they needed $22,000 just to take it out. Well, that's great, but look how much of that is taxed at 46%. Pretty much all that is taxed at 46%. So let's just use 20,000 to make it easy. You take out 20,000, government's getting half of it, and you're getting half of it. That's probably not a very good tax rate when we could start doing tax planning now at maybe 12 or 22 or 24% and not have to worry about paying double the tax rates if one spouse passes away. Not only the tax rate, the 25% tax rate, going to be higher than what you could pay now, but also you're going to force Social Security to be taxable, and we don't want to do that. And then you're also hitting a Medicare premium tier, which we don't want to do that either if we can avoid it. And so you can see the RMDs, required minimum distributions, the amount the government requires you to take out. If they did that, they'd be over the Medicare premium tiers, they'd be now in the 28% bracket, and they'd have to pay a 46% tax from Social Security in the federal bracket. So how severe is a widow's penalty? Well, yeah, it even looks severe from the slideshow I showed you there, the brackets I showed you, but how severe does it actually look on paper when you factor in everything playing together? So here's my point. Plan for this before it's too late. We actually just had a client, pass away 2023, beginning of this year, and in December, I told him, I said, try to make it to January, because if you make it to January, the spouse is going to be left with one more year. Don't let it get to that point. Do the planning now so you can be ahead of the game here and you don't have to worry about it. Here's the other thing that we see. We deal with a lot of widows, and something we see is that, and this is actually a real stat, is that 90% of widows leave their current financial advisor to go work with someone else. And the main reason why is because they don't connect well with that person. And the main reason is because, the other spouse and the financial planner got along great all the years, but that other spouse felt left out of it. We see that often. We actually make the recommendation that our clients, we want to see them both in all the meetings. We want to make sure they both feel good about our team working with us, because if one spouse passes, we don't want to see them having to leave and start all over. And so that's extremely important, is make sure is the one you have, are they a trusted guy that you feel comfortable with? And if not, make sure you find someone that both of you agree with is going to be that good fit moving forward. So hope that helps you. Avoid the widow's penalty and make sure you can put more money in your pocket. Subscribe to us below and watch more videos like this ongoing. Thanks for joining.